Have you heard about AI, but you're not sure how to use it, or you've tried to use AI, but it hasn't given you very good results? In this video, I'm going to show you 3 key things to use AI like a pro. And by the end of this, you're going to know exactly what to do anytime you need to use AI. If you don't know who I am, my name is Ange Bourgeois, and I'm the founder of a company called Catching Made Simple, where I teach a bunch of baseball and softball players that are catchers how to get better at catching from around the world. I coach all my catchers online, and AI is an integral part of my workflow in my system. And on top of that, literally about an hour ago, I just helped my father-in-law write his wedding speech using ChatGPT. So let's jump in. We're going to cover the 3 main tips, and then I'm going to go over a real life example with you. The first tip is to give AI an identity. Now, this is especially good if there is a particular domain expert in the field. For example, if I am trying to talk about physics or how to learn, I might use a guy named Richard Feynman. You might not know who he is, but ChatGPT knows that he's the expert authority in that field, and then we'll go read all of his stuff and answer using his frameworks. In the same way, in whatever the topic is that you're trying to get an answer to, there's typically 1 or 2 main experts in that space. If you tell ChatGPT or AI, I want you to act as if you are this person, then when you assign it an identity, it assumes the role. Okay, so that is the very first thing, is give it an identity. Okay, the second tip to use AI like a pro is to talk to it like a person. Now, what that means is that you're going to continue talking to it. This is the benefit of using an AI compared to a search tool like Google, because in Google, you get one search and then a bunch of resources. And then you have to go into all those resources, and then you have to come back to Google and search it again. With ChatGPT or these other chat-based AI tools, you can actually just respond to it. So again, the big mistake that I see when people prompt ChatGPT is they don't give it an identity and they don't give it context, just like you would if you were talking to a friend, and then it gives a poor response. And then the person looks at the poor response and they say, this AI stuff doesn't work. This isn't very good. It's because you didn't prompt it very well. If you prompted it better, it would give you a better answer. On top of that, just follow back up. It's really smart, but it just doesn't know exactly what you're looking for. And so you can say, I like this, more of this, and less of this, and then respond back to it. And it will then give you another answer. Or if you have a follow-up question, you're doing research, you can ask that question, and then it will give you an answer. And you can keep going back and forth just like you would if you were with a person. So again, the big mistake is that after the initial response, we stop. Don't stop there. Go back a few more times until you get exactly what you're looking for. And the third tip to use AI like a pro is to use it to simplify your writing. So much of what we do is writing based, and so much about writing is letting the other person understand it. The best way to do that is to simplify your writing. So this is in emails, this is in communication, this is in any sort of content creation that you're doing. If you can simplify the writing, that's going to make your job at communicating even easier. My bonus tip is to just try to use AI more. Hear me when I say this. This is the worst AI that we are ever going to have. AI is only going to get better, and it's going to get better exponentially faster based off of everything that we are learning. And pretty soon, the AI is going to have hardware such as robot bodies, robot cars, and all sorts of stuff that is going to be able to do things. And from everything that I've learned, specifically listening to a talk that Eric Schmidt, I believe, I might have his last name wrong. He was the CEO at Google or something like that. He gave a talk at Stanford, and he was talking about how within the next 2 years, it's going to be really interesting because there's going to be a big wave of creation like we've never seen before. The reason for that is because pretty soon we'll be able to have an AI that can actually take action on its own. They call these agents. Now, I'm getting slightly off topic, but I think this is important for you to understand, just so that you can really understand where AI could be going and at least try to get yourself familiar, so that in 2 years, when all this stuff is happening, it's not the first time that you've ever opened up any sort of AI interface and you're like a grandma opening up a smartphone. But basically, what these AI agents have the potential to do is they could act as an employee of your business. So you could have a marketing agent, and that marketing agent would be in charge of content creation, ideation, scripting, editing, posting, distributing, analyzing results. And as it analyzes that data, looking at what we should do next. And it can do it autonomously 24/7. Now, we're not there yet, but based off of what I understand, it is coming, and you should at least prepare yourself and familiarize yourself with how to use the tools. Now, with that being said, let's actually show you an example of how we could use this. I personally love to use ChatGPT on my phone app because I am more of a verbal processor and I can get words out a lot faster than I can type them. Plus, it's nice to be able to have it on your phone so that you can use it on the go. So one thing to note about ChatGPT is that there are different models. So you'll create an account and then you can get access to different models. They just came out with this, I think it's called 01, but basically it's a deep reasoning model. And from everything that I've seen, it's really impressive. Let me pull this up for you. If I search GPT-4 versus GPT 3.5 and we go to images, this is just so that you can get the context of scale. The difference in jumps between these models of GPT-3 to GPT-4, you can see how much bigger it is, and it is only exponential, which means that the jump to GPT-5 is going to be absolutely gigantic, and it will continue to grow and grow. Again, this is the worst AI that you are ever going to get. Now, you can see I just worked on a Father of the Bride speech with my father-in-law, and you can use this for everything. You can program it to do content creation. You can program it to really anything that is in a daily workflow. You should be trying to integrate AI into it because you're going to need to, and it will make you so much more efficient. Let's do this, for example. You're an AI expert, skilled in teaching people unfamiliar with AI how to use AI and integrate it into their daily lives. So I'm giving it an identity. The other thing that I forgot to say earlier is you need to give it context, just like you would if you're coming to me and asking me a question. In order for me to give you a response, I would need to have some context as to why you are asking this question. So now I'm going to say, I'm creating a YouTube video explaining what someone needs to know about using AI in order to become a pro, even if they're new. What are the, let's say, top 10 things you would tell them, and give me 10 YouTube title options that would fit and be as viral as possible. This is the other crazy thing. It says memory updated. And so you can actually go in and manage these memories. Let's see, it's being a bit slow here. So now it just works, but it froze. So I'm going to actually just press edit and then send again. And it should now go for it. Okay, so top 10 things to know about AI to become a pro, even if you're new. Start small and build up. Understand AI terminology. AI, machine learning, natural language processing are. Use AI for productivity. AI for content creation. That's another thing that we didn't even talk about here. The image generation, the text to video, like Runway and OpenAI Sora, is really crazy as well. Then there's also all sorts of language dubbing things. I just saw a video of Mark Zuckerberg talking about how he's testing out on Reels overdubbing and changing the lips to match the overdubbing into other languages, so that if someone is watching this in English, but they speak Spanish, then it would be me talking in Spanish, which is crazy because I'm sure that there's some privacy stuff that might be getting violated there because they're just amassing so much data. But nonetheless, again, all this AI stuff, like, it's not slowing down. It is only going to speed up, and it's going to speed up at a faster and faster rate because it's going to get better. Okay, so how to use AI like a pro, even if you're a total beginner. So now I'm going to follow up to this and say, I like these titles, but I'm focusing on 3 main tips and also giving an example. Give me 10 new titles. So again, this is one of the biggest things about when you prompt AI. You want to look at it and say, okay, I like this, but I really want it to focus more on this, and I want this too, and I want you to remove this. Let's do it again. So now it says, master AI with 3 simple tips plus a real life example. 3 must know tips to become an AI pro, 3 powerful AI tips for beginners, and a real example to follow. Become an AI expert fast. 3 tips and a practical example. So now I'm going to say, which one do you think has the best potential to go viral? 3 must-know tips to become an AI pro, no experience needed. Must-know AI pro. Okay, great. Can you give me a few thumbnail ideas? Here are some thumbnail ideas. Simple text plus iconic AI imagery, text, colors. So now you can see it's formatting visual element, text, and colors. Checklist, futuristic tech vibe. Now I'm going to say, can you draft an image of each of those? So let's see if it comes up with an image here. Now, a lot of times the images aren't that great, but it is really fascinating nonetheless. And again, as these continue to get better, you're going to see that these will get better and better, especially as more data is trained on good thumbnails versus bad thumbnails, because that's really all that is happening. Just like a human would be trained on good versus bad and understanding the difference and clarifying it, that's what is happening to these models as well. They're literally basing it on neuroscience to try to get it to learn faster, which is cool and scary at the same time. But nonetheless, if the tool is here, let's use it. So again, none of these are really great thumbnails in my opinion. This could have some legs to it. Some form of transformation like this, how to use AI like a pro type of thing. I do like that. But hopefully you're getting at least an idea of how I use this on a daily basis. Let me show you this one right here. Yesterday, I went to Google actually and searched, is vinegar bad for car paint? Because we had a bunch of ants in our apartment and then we used vinegar to get rid of them. Now there were no more ants because we have a young baby. We have a 1.5-year-old, so we didn't want to spray like the Raid ant killer stuff down in the apartment. So we figured out what was a different type of ant killer, vinegar. Then I parked under a tree, and on that tree there were a bunch of ants, and so a bunch of ants came out and they were on my car, and I didn't want the ants to be in the garage when I pulled it in. And so I asked, is vinegar bad for car paint? And so it gives me this answer, which is actually super great. And then oftentimes it finishes with the next question: would you like advice on safer alternatives? So I said, no, there's a bunch of ants on the hood of my car. And so if there are, here's what you can do. This will deter the ants. So my final words here are, even if it's a random thing that you would normally just type into Google, I would encourage you to try to use ChatGPT or some other AI tool. Because in fact, my wife was also just at this event the other day and there were a bunch of other moms, and someone who was running the event said, how do you like the questions? I came up with them on ChatGPT. And about 80% of them, she said, what's ChatGPT? When I heard that, I said, oh my gosh, this is crazy. How do people not know about this? But if you've never heard about it, it makes sense. And if you don't know how to use it, then you don't know how to get the type of results. Then you are like, this is dumb. This doesn't work. But if you can get better at, one, prompting it by telling it who it is, two, giving it context and treating it like a person, having follow-up responses, and then three, for any communication that you're doing and you're sending stuff out, if you can write it and then just put it into there and have it simplify it, it's going to drastically improve your output in terms of your emails or whatever you are creating content on or communicating on. All that being said, I hope that this helps you understand how to use AI more. It's definitely a tool that is not going away. It is definitely a tool that you should know how to use. So thanks for watching. My name is Ange Bourgeois. Let's win together. And if you liked this video on AI, you might like this video on content creation. We'll see you in the next one.